Albert Einstein once said, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today on trial we have modern day schooling. Glad you could come. Not only does he make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run. Tell me, school, are you proud of the things you've done? Turning millions of people into robots, do you find that fun? Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish? Swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless? Well, the time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Exhibit A. Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today, and here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today, and here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it. Back then, times were different. We all have a past. I myself am no Gandhi. But today, we don't need to make robot zombies. The world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, independently, with the ability to connect. See, every scientist will tell you that no two brains are the same. And every parent with 2 or more children will confirm that claim. So please explain why you treat students like cookie cutter frames or snapback hats, giving them this one-size-fits-all crap.
Watch your language.
Sorry, Your Honor, but if a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all of his patients, the results will be tragic. So many people would get sick, yet when it comes to school, this is exactly what happens, this educational malpractice, where one teacher stands in front of 20 kids, each one having different strengths, different needs, different gifts, different dreams, and you teach the same thing the same way? That's horrific. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant should not be acquitted. This may be one of the worst criminal offenses ever to be committed. And let's mention the way you treat your employees.
Objection. Overruled. I want to hear this.
It's a shame. I mean, teachers have the most important job on the planet, yet they're underpaid? No wonder so many students are short-changed. Let's be honest, teachers should earn just as much as doctors, because a doctor can do heart surgery and save the life of a kid, but a great teacher can reach the heart of that kid and allow him to truly live. See, teachers are heroes that often get blamed, but they're not the problem. They work in a system without many options or rights. Curriculums are created by policymakers, most of which have never taught a day in their life. Just obsessed with standardized tests. They think bubbling in a multiple choice question will determine success. That's outlandish. In fact, these tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned, but don't take my word for it. Take Frederick J. Kelly, the man who invented standardized testing, who said, and I quote, "These tests are too cruel to be used and should be abandoned." Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if we continue down this road, the results will be lethal. I don't have much faith in school, but I do have faith in people. And if we can customize healthcare, cars, and Facebook pages, then it is our duty to do the same for education, to upgrade it, change it, do away with school spirit, because that's useless. Unless we're working to bring the spirit out of each and every student, that should be our task. No more Common Core. Instead, let's reach the core of every heart in every class. Sure, math is important, but no more than art or dance. Let's give every gift an equal chance. I know this sounds like a dream, but countries like Finland are doing impressive things. They have shorter school days. Teachers make a decent wage. Homework is non-existent, and they focus on collaboration instead of competition. But here's the kicker, boys and girls. Their educational system outperforms every other country in the world. Other places like Singapore are succeeding rapidly. Schools like Montessori, programs like Khan Academy. There is no single solution, but let's get moving. Because while students may be 20% of our population, they are 100% of our future. So let's attend to their dreams, and there's no telling what we can achieve. This is a world in which I believe, a world where fish are no longer forced to climb trees. I'll rest my case.
Today, we're going to talk about seating arrangements, as they can help or hinder student learning. There are three types of seating arrangements: traditional rows, U-shape, cluster or grouping. Now, the educator needs to decide which seating style to use. Let's look at the top 3 pros and cons of each style. Traditional rows. This is the most commonly used seating arrangement in the world. The pros of traditional rows are: it's good for teacher-centered classes such as lectures. It encourages focus on the educator and content, and it's easy to implement with large classes. However, the cons can be: students can easily become disengaged during the lesson, not good for classes designed for conversation and interaction, and not easy to observe students in the mid to back rows. U-shaped seating, for classes that want more interaction between the student and educator. The pros to U-shaped seating are: encourages discussion and interaction, easy to observe students and provide one-on-one help if needed, and helps control some students with behavioral problems. The cons are: shy students may feel anxiety being part of one large group. It cannot be used with all ages to control behavior. And classroom size and number of students can make it difficult to use. Cluster seating. This allows students the chance to learn cooperatively. The pros are: the small group creates a safe area for students to interact. Shared knowledge on group work increases individual knowledge. And the educator can easily assess students or monitor student work. The cons can be: some students may only copy work and are not engaged in learning. Also, it's easy for students to talk to each other and not listen to the educator. And placing students in groups doesn't mean they will work as a group.
In this video, we're going to take a look at different seating arrangements and how you can set up your classroom in order to minimize student management problems. When your classroom is not set up correctly, it can be really detrimental to student management. So students are far less likely to misbehave when they know that you can see everything that goes on in the room. Also, when your tables are not spaced out correctly, that can stop you from walking around and monitoring different speaking activities and group work. And also, it will prevent you from using maybe some non-verbal cues, like gestures or moving over beside a student who is talking to stop that behavior without disrupting the lesson. So the lesson still goes on. So what is the first thing to consider then? Well, how are your tables set up? Is there room to move freely? So at the front of your class, is there room for you to move around freely and students to easily come to the board? What is something to consider here? Well, the size and the shape of your classroom. So a lot of the rooms are different sizes and shapes, so you're going to have to come up with your own seating arrangement that best suits your own classroom. Next, what are the lesson objectives for today? So maybe if you have a CTP speaking activity planned where you have to move all the tables around, can you easily do that? Or is it CTP day, so you need access maybe to the green screen to minimize disruptions in class? Next, do you have full visibility of the class as you teach? So are your tables set up in a way that you can see every student? And then as you're teaching, you can really monitor the class and nip any problems in the bud there. And finally, do you use a seating plan? So this will be recommended for all new teachers until you get really familiar with your students and you're confident in your own system. If you use a set seating plan, it can reduce student management problems, as you will be able to separate perhaps talkative friends. You can place weaker students maybe beside the stronger student to give them a hand in class and help them improve. And then finally, maybe you could have a desk at the front of your class for disruptive students. So someone gets an X or has been continuously disruptive, they have to move to a desk at the front. So these are all different things to consider with your seating arrangement. All right, let's move on to our video activity. So our question here is, take a look at the seating arrangement in class. Okay, so if you have a pen and paper handy, just jot down what comes to mind. Is there room to move freely at the front of the class? Is there space to walk around and monitor perhaps group work and individual students if they're practicing their speaking? And how is the teacher's visibility at the front of the room? So would he be able to see the whole class as he teaches? Okay, now let's watch our video.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
Okay, we'll stop our video there and quickly review. So, taking into consideration the size and shape of the room, the seating arrangement looks really good. There's space between the desks for the teacher to walk around and monitor, pair work or group work. There's a lot of room at the front of the class for the teacher to move around and for students to come up and present. And finally, it looks like the teacher has really good visibility. So this was our video about seating arrangements and perhaps something you can consider for your own classroom.
Nama saya Kaizuri, Puan Kaizuri. Saya mengajar subjek bahasa Inggeris dan berada di sekolah ni dah 15 tahun. Okay.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Puan Nurliza. I've been teaching in SMK Wangsa Maju Section 2 in Kuala Lumpur for the past 23 years. Currently, I'm teaching Reka Cipta, that is an elective subject for SPM.
Ikut standard yang biasa, iaitu susunan classroom ke 2, 3 students, 2 students, 3 students, ikut row lah kan.
I normally arrange the classroom by placing 3 students in one row. This will make teaching much more easier as the students can face directly on the board. However, if the students is instructed to do a group activity, the 3 rows in front will combine with the 3 rows at the back to form one team. This is for easier collaboration between them during the activity.
Saya sebagai seorang guru, saya lebih suka menyusun kelas saya sendiri, mengikut pendapat saya bagaimana kelas itu perlu diatur, mengikut kesesuaian murid, sama ada dari segi pandaian murid di dalam kelas. Sebab dalam kelas itu ada murid yang lemah, ada murid yang sederhana, dan ada murid yang pandai. Jadi seharusnya kita makin integrasikan semua murid agar mereka dapat berinteraksi dan satu sama lain dalam kumpulan yang kita susun. Contoh listening tidak senang nak tengok whiteboard. Because dulu it was more towards teacher oriented. Okay.
The purpose of classroom arrangement is to ensure the classroom is conducive for teaching and learning process. Poor arrangement can lead to students being distracted and uncomfortable in class. This will affect their grade and understanding of the lesson.
Tujuan utama menyusun murid-murid kumpulan adalah untuk mewujudkan satu suasana pembelajaran yang berorientasikan pelajar, di mana pembelajaran itu harus berpusat kepada murid, bukan kepada guru. Kemudian also mengikut peredaran yang terbaru untuk essential ini, which is more student centered, so kita ubah juga kepada grouping, where students sit in a group and then teacher acts as a facilitator.
My strategy if the arrangement is a combination of 21st century and traditional, where students will chalkboard learning are arranged in traditional manner in a row of 3. However, during classroom activity, student is arranged in groups of 6 facing each other for better collaboration.
Strategi untuk menyusun sebuah kelas pendidikan ini beratkan oleh seorang guru. Kerana melalui strategi ini, pembelajaran abad ke-21 dapat diwujudkan sesuai dengan arus murid. Jadi, strategi penyusunan mengikut kumpulan. Kita dapat menggunakan aktiviti seperti quiz, seperti perbincangan, dan yang boleh mewujudkan interaksi berkolaborasi di dalam kelas. Masalahnya, bila budak tak menghadap pakar murid, dia komplain susah nak mengalir. But bila susun in group macam 21st century tu, it's easier for them to do discussions, work kan, it's much easier for them to menghadap masing-masing. Cuma bila it comes to not every subject, every topic boleh buat group. Some topics, some subjects you have to pay attention to. Bila tu agak susah untuk budak mengalir, pay attention. Okay, alright. So
my answer to question 4 is the classroom become chaotic during activities largely due to them being very excited. Lack of focus often occur during the group arrangement.
Masalah yang sering timbul dalam kumpulan adalah dari segi disiplin. Bagaimanapun ya adalah sangat kurang, kecuali apabila suka ada bising, tidak perhatian, atau yang suka mengganggu kelancaran. Kamu sebagai seorang guru juga harus bijak menangani masalah sebenarnya. There are two issues now. Okay, so kalau awal tahun mungkin ramai akan jumpa dengan hidup. Because awal tahun you have ample time, you can have fun, you can do anything. Tetapi as the year progresses, dekat the exam will be more focused. So mungkin you just prefer to sit classroom style. That's it. Tapi kalau kelas biasanya macam tu, 3-2-3. Okay? Kalau nak buat group work, biasanya cikgu akan buat bilik-bilik khas. That's where they can sit. Itu je. Is there anything else?
My opinion to overcome is to perhaps set role during classroom activities and deter students from being too noisy and distracting their friends.
Masalah seumpama seperti yang disebutkan boleh diatasi dengan cara mengadakan peraturan. Sebagai contoh, kita boleh menggunakan simbol, umpamanya simbol merah untuk guru diam, simbol hijau untuk mereka boleh berpartisipasi, atau memberikan ganjaran-ganjaran yang tertentu.